Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class. This 30th of January, 2021. Well, the title of our class for the night this evening is going to be the importance of the Book of Jasher. So we're going to do a moment of silence in regards to Yahweh Creator and His Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts, and all that they are doing, both in heaven and in the earth, to orchestrate our deliverance. And then we're going to do a evening Sabbath prayer and songs and current events. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and upright belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servant David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad, for you possess the power to turn us, O Lord. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to read a little Psalms. Okay. Say I'm going to do Psalm 115. It's trust in God and not in idols. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory, for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, Where now, where is now their God? But our God is in the heavens, and he have done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, the works of man's hand. They have mouths, but they speak not, and eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth in them. O Israel, trust thou in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. O house of Aaron, trust in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. Ye that fear the Lord, trust in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. The Lord hath been mindful of us. He will bless us. He will bless the house of Israel. He will bless the house of Aaron. He will bless them that fear the Lord, both small and great. The Lord shall increase you more and more, you and your children. Ye are blessed of the Lord, which made heaven and earth. The heaven, even the heavens of heaven, are the Lord's, but the earth have he given to the children of men. The dead praise not the Lord, neither any that go down into silence. But we will bless the Lord from this time forth and forever. Praise the Lord. And that's Psalm 115, and it's trust in God, not in idols. Okay. With that being said, got any current events? Anybody want to bring up any current events? You got something you want
No current events.
to? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, uh, yeah, like I said, I was saying the other day that about these they got visas. We were just talking about the visas. I'm gonna bring this up right quick. Yeah, let me get there right quick. You notice it's all West African countries that they're doing these visas with.
Africa goes, Kenya, Tanzania, if like citizenship is important to you, if ownership is important, because even in Kenya, Tanzania, from my understanding, if you're not a citizen, you can't own land. Maybe you could, from my understanding, in Tanzania, you can open up a business and maybe own land under your business. But it's just, to me, if you're trying to gain citizenship, I think West Africa is the first place to start, if that's important to you. Because again, ownership's important to me.
Okay.
So owning land, not leasing land, is important to me. Now, in certain countries like Ghana, I want to say the maximum, I say you could lease land for up to 99 years, but that's if you're a citizen. If you're not a citizen, I think it's like 30 years. So, it doesn't make sense to uproot yourself, relocate to a country, and then not want citizenship or not demand the same rights in that country as if you were a local or a native of that country. Also, too, with your ECOWAS passport, I can now travel all through West Africa. There's 15 countries, I believe, 13 or 15 countries, visa free. So, for example, before I had my Nigerian passport and before I had my Sierra Leonean passport, I had my American passport. So the only countries in West Africa where you could travel visa free is Senegal, Gambia. I think there's one more. Or get at least visa on arrival. You have Senegal, you have Gambia, and Togo. The other countries, you got to get a visa. So it was a process. You got to mail your passport off to the embassy here in America, make sure it gets back in time, pay, anywhere from $100 to $200 for a visa, and you have to repeat this process every 2 years. And to me, that's just a hassle. Or, if you're traveling by road, you got to get your visa at the border, which sometimes can be a hassle. But when you have your ECOWAS passport, you just go right through. So again, for somebody who's relocated, who's living in Africa, specifically West Africa, it doesn't make sense on how some people say, citizenship or passport is not important. I'm like, well, if you're going to uproot yourself to an African country, I would think you would want all the benefits that comes with living in that country. So that's why it's important.
Let me kind of go back to this because Sierra Leone, because most countries even require, like Ghana, for an example. I know it's in West Africa. I think, to start a business in Ghana, I think the assets need to be, if I'm not mistaken, like $500,000, right?
It depends on the business. There's ways to circumvent that from what I understand. So number one, for the most part, in the majority of countries in Africa, outside of the Francophone countries, the French-speaking countries, you have to have a local. You have to partner with a local. So you have to have a business partner who's a local, which I understand, because you don't want these foreigners coming in and creating a monopoly. And then number two, right, depending. See, Ghana, I think there's a way around that, the whole $500,000 thing. I think there's a way around it, a legal way around it. Now, like in Sierra Leone, you start your business, you have to have board members, you pay the fees, and that's it. Nigeria, similar. You pay the fees, that's it. Ghana, from my understanding, is more complicated. I have businesses in Nigeria and in Sierra Leone that I formed. But it's easier, from my understanding, in the French-speaking country. So I'm possibly going to form a business in Senegal. And for the most part, you just got to go to their incorporation place, fill out some paperwork, have a local address, which I'll use my friend's address, and that's it.
Let me ask you this though, because the point I want to get to is, I know Uganda, Kenya, it's like $100,000, depending on what it is, but $100,000 versus possibly in Ghana, $500,000. But you're telling me that if you get citizenship in Sierra Leone, you don't have to. If you get the citizenship, then that window, that amount of money's out the door now, right?
Well, even if we don't have citizenship, as long as countries like Gambia, countries like Sierra Leone, I want to say even Liberia, maybe to hold me to it. Nigeria. You don't have to have these large amounts of, I guess, equity. I think it is, or I think it's equity. Not so like with Ghana, it isn't like you have to have $500,000 cash. I think it's more equity. I forgot. Don't hold me to it. But it's just in other countries, it's not like that. So that's another thing. When you're thinking about relocating to a country, ease to start a business, ease to open up a business. That's important as well. So I think for a lot of us, and I was like this too, O'Shea, for many of us coming from the diaspora to Africa, we look at it more on an emotional level versus, okay, what makes more business sense, what's easier for me to truly integrate and get started versus an emotional level. So I think that's a problem. That's why I tell people, travel to at least 5-6 countries. I know you're emotional. I know the ancestors have called you home, and that's fine. But travel to at least 5 different countries. Find out how it is to do business. What's the process to get citizenship, and then decide from there. That's my advice.
Okay. Now let me go this, because I know like in Uganda, in East Africa, it's a lot more difficult to get citizenship. You have to marry someone. But Sierra Leone, they have rolled out this opportunity for the diaspora. What are the opportunities? Because people don't know a lot about Sierra Leone. People really didn't know a lot about a lot of countries in West Africa, but a lot is not known about Sierra Leone. What are some of the challenges that are there for people who, let's say, if they can gain citizenship, and what are some of the opportunities? Because you've been going there quite frequently. What are some of the opportunities in comparisons to, you also have Nigerian citizenship, and if you had to pick between staying in one country or the other?
I'm setting up in both.
Okay. What are some of the challenges in Sierra Leone that you wouldn't that are opportunities rather for people who can prove citizenship in this country?
Me personally, I'm gonna be focusing more on tourism. So I'm gonna be focusing on tourism. So tourism, real estate, and media. Those are like the 3 areas that I'm going to be focusing on. With that being said, tour Sierra Leone. We're going to be celebrating Sierra Leonean independence. It's going to be the 60-year anniversary that they were separated, claimed independence from Britain. We're leaving April 20th, returning on the 29th. So April 20th through the 29th, arrive in Sierra Leone April 21st, leave April 29th, tour, go to searchforhuru.com. Again, go to searchforhuru.com. Hit me up for more details. So we're doing a tour. I'm hosting a tour in Sierra Leone end of April. So if you're interested in traveling and going, let me know. But me, I'm going to focus primarily, I'm starting off with tourism. I would say that Sierra Leone, by far, I've been to Zanzibar, I've been to Cape Town, South Africa. Sierra Leone, by far, the most beautiful, or Freetown, the most beautiful country I've ever, the city, country I've ever, Sierra Leone, Freetown, the most beautiful city, most beautiful country I've ever stepped foot on. So there are a lot of opportunities in tourism, especially when you're dealing with hospitality. So that's going to be my first primary focus, along with the media portion. So I think the beaches are beautiful. You're talking about blue water.
Her plot of land is a 70.
Oh, my bad.
What's good? good, everybody? It's your boy L. Shay Duke Jackson back at it again with another YouTube collaboration. Nigerian citizenship, and if you had to pick between staying in one country or the other.
I'm not.
I would like to see 5.
Hit the wrong button.
What are some of the challenges in Sierra Leone that you wouldn't that are opportunities rather for people who can prove citizenship in this country?
Me personally, I'm gonna be focusing more on tourism. So I'm gonna be focusing on tourism. So tourism, real estate, and media. Those are like the 3 areas that I'm gonna be focusing on. With that being said, tour Sierra Leone. We're gonna be celebrating Sierra Leonean independence. It's gonna be a 60-year anniversary that they were separated or claimed independence from Britain. We're leaving April 20th, returning on the 29th. So April 20th through the 29th, arrive in Sierra Leone April 21st, leave April 29th, tour, go to searchforhuru.com. Again, go to searchforhuru.com. Hit me up for more details. So we're doing a tour. I'm hosting a tour in Sierra Leone end of April. So if you're interested in traveling and going, let me know. But me, I'm going to focus primarily, I'm starting off with tourism. I would say that Sierra Leone, by far, I've been to Zanzibar, I've been to Cape Town, South Africa. Sierra Leone, by far, the most beautiful, Freetown, the most beautiful country country I've ever, Sierra Leone, Freetown, the most beautiful city, most beautiful country I've ever stepped foot on. So there are a lot of opportunities in tourism, especially when you're dealing with hospitality. So that's going to be my first primary focus, along with the media portion. So I think the beaches are beautiful. You're talking about blue water, white sand, and then you have the green mountains that just, oh man, it's just, Sierra Leone is just gorgeous. So, people are sleeping on Sierra Leone. So my focus primarily starting off is going to be in tourism.
Let me ask you this: for some of the people who are interested in some of the other parts, because I know, shout out to Dr. Harnett. She was the first person that I saw that was really pushing agribusiness in Africa, and I used to think like how much of a joke that was coming from the West. But then I realized when I was in Uganda, like agribusiness is really the future. It kind of is important in a lot of things, and I've been pushing that also on my channel. What are the opportunities that from what you've seen, and just in Sierra Leone with agribusiness or things like that? Do you think that those, for a person that wants to become an entrepreneur, do you think that the markets can sustain a person in Sierra Leone for the right thing?
Yeah, I think the markets can sustain anyone, anywhere, if you're doing the right thing. It's crazy. So I have my degree's in agricultural business from the University of Georgia. But I can't tell you much about agriculture because out of college I went into sales. So I've never been in the ag-related field as far as my career. So the opportunity is there, but right now I wouldn't be able to.
Hi everyone.
Tell you much about agricultural and as far as business opportunities, but they're there. I know they're there. But if you want to deal with Nigeria, from my understanding, snail farm is where it's at.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. But let's talk about some of the challenges, because I know that you've been there. One thing I like about Kenya, obviously, in the business that we do, one thing I know is if I go to Nairobi, I can set up shop. I can hook up with African Traveler. I can hook up with African Superstar, not African Achievement Case, but I'm talking about African Tigress. I know they have good infrastructure. If you want to do a business that we're doing right now, Uganda, I have Zuku Fiber in my place. I can continue to still doing the same business that I'm in now. But Sierra Leone, and as far as the internet and things like that, in rent prices, because obviously West Africa is more expensive typically. I was talking to Roy the Year the other day, in some parts of $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month is not uncommon in Monrovia. It depends on where you live. But if you want something that's decent, whereas in Kenya, Nairobi, $300-400 a month is much different. Tanzania, the same thing, right? It's much cheaper. How expensive does it cost for a person to live in Sierra Leone? Because a lot of brothers are moving, sisters moving to places they can afford, like Gambia. People know it's cheap, right? Kenya tends to be a little bit cheaper. West Africa is known to be a lot more expensive to live than East Africa. What would you say about the cost of living in Sierra Leone?
From my understanding, $600-700 a month, is you can find something relatively nice. And then as far as the internet goes, from what I've been told, to get the top of the line internet, it's going to cost you about $100 a month, 100 to $120 a month, from my understanding. So you can function the way we do over here, for the most part. But I think the country that people are sleeping on when it comes to affordability is Nigeria. I mean, you can get a nice apartment for the year for like $2,500 to $3,000 for the year in Nigeria. So I think depending where, but you can get that find that in Lagos as well. So I think Nigeria is a country that a lot of people are sleeping on when it comes to affordability. Now you're going to need a generator, but when it comes to affordability, a lot of people are sleeping on Nigeria. But they have your something that's comparable to how you're living in the West in Sierra Leone. You're looking at $700 a month, and then plus internet. That's about an extra 100-120. So that's what you're looking at.
Okay. And so, in your argument, always pretty good. That we could get the DNA test, go to Sierra Leone, see if we can get citizenship. You can travel through ECOWAS, visa free. What's the process? Let's say for you do your DNA test, you do find out that you do have some Sierra Leonean ties. What is the process to go forward to obtain citizenship?
Right. So my process, AfricanAncestry.com, took a DNA test. On my mother's side, it came back Mende, Sierra Leone. That was back in 2013. So then I think the first person was Isaiah Washington, the actor. He was able to acquire citizenship via DNA, but this was probably back even before 2013. Back when he was doing Grey's Anatomy, when he acquired his. So I want to say 2019. Free. A group of African Americans who use African ancestry to trace their DNA back to Sierra Leone. They were given citizenship, right? But now, and then I think another group came. That was early 2019, like spring 2019. And another group came, I want to say winter of 2019, did the same.
What happened? He dropped off.
Yeah. Where did Jeanette go?
What's the latest on those two little boys that disappeared? Anybody heard anything?
No, where was that at, Sire?
California.
Hmm.
And I don't know, they were foster parents, but they adopted them. Yeah. And the brother, he's brown complected, or the man, the father is brown complected, and the woman looks like a mix, and she looks shady. You know how they come out and talk?
Right.
Yeah, she looks shady. I don't know.
We can see the video, but no volume.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me get out of this. Okay. Okay. Anybody got any comments on what we saw? The little bit we saw about the West African countries that get the passports. Anybody got any comments on that or question?
Yeah, I think somebody needs to be like canvassing the various countries, maybe somebody that's there visiting, and just report what they find. That way to let one way of letting the diaspora know what exactly is going on in each one of the countries. And like he was saying, how much it costs to rent, and real estate, stuff like that. That's what's needed. Somebody needs to go and tour a few of those countries, so that in the West anyway, so we can get a feel for um, what's available and
Yeah,
how
you're right.
living would be there, and the cost.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That need to happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can appoint somebody to do that.
Yeah, I was thinking about going to a few places when I got there, and and for the most part to try to come up with some ideas. And I don't know how, um, I don't know how invested we should, or it would be advisable for us to get. But things, knowing that the diaspora are going to be, migrating to that country, to me, it would be a good idea to get into the knowledge of the country, of the continent, period.
Right. Exactly.
Knowledge of the continent, so that you can share information with this, that, and the other one. That's what I'm interested in doing. And also transportation, because transportation is, everybody can't afford to ship their vehicle over there.
Right.
And though their Uber system or their transportation system is not that expensive, when they see us coming, then they want an arm and a leg. And I'm not feeling that, you know. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Anybody else? Anybody got any current events? Sorry about that interruption. Yeah, so I'm gonna play this right here because I mean, yeah. Yeah, this guy here I thought this was kind of informative. That's the reason I'm playing it. This let me see.
I want to welcome you to the channel Dreamers Pro, where we produce content to inspire, a new generation of African leaders and global pioneers. Now, today, once again, we're going to be focusing on Africa, and we're going to be talking about the top 10 most surprising facts about Africa. So, if this is your first time to the channel, I just want you to make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this video with someone that you feel will benefit from this content. So, let's get into it. So, the first thing, fact number one about Africa, is that it's the second largest continent in the world, with a population of 1.2 billion people. That's the fact number one. Now, some people may think that maybe North America is the second biggest continent, but in fact, it's actually Africa coming in after Asia. Fact number two is that Africa is the richest continent in the world by natural resources. So in Africa, you find natural resources such as diamonds, salt, gold, uranium, petroleum, iron, cocoa beans, and copper. So all of these natural resources is what makes Africa the richest continent in the world as far as natural resources. Number three, a lot of the foundations of mathematics can be traced back to Africa and ancient Egypt. For example, in ancient Egypt, Egyptians were the first civilization to develop and solve second-degree quadratic equations. And this can be found in their Rin mathematics papyrus. This was a form of mathematics that the Egyptians actually developed, and they also used Egyptian geometry to solve areas of triangles, circles, rectangles, and hemispheres. Now, fact number 4 about Africa is that Africa is comprised of 54 different countries, and the continent is divided into 4 different regions. So you have Northern Africa, you have West Africa, where you find countries like Guinea, Senegal, Nigeria, and Ghana. Then you have East Africa, which has countries like Ethiopia and Uganda, and then you have South Africa. Fact number 5 is that the population of Africa will grow to be 2.3 billion people by the year 2050. Another fun fact is that Africa will actually, its GDP will rise to $29 trillion by the year 2050. Fact number 6 is that the tallest mountain in Africa is called Mount Kilimanjaro and is actually located in Tanzania. Now, the mountain itself is roughly 4,000 meters tall, or 16,000 feet tall, from its base. And it also is, home to the Kilimanjaro National Park, which is a major tourist climbing destination. This is for places where people like to go mountain climbing. This is definitely on the list if you're looking for an adventure in Africa. Fact number 7 is that actually the richest black person in the world is an African, and his name is Aliko Dangote. Now, he is a Nigerian businessman from the Hausa tribe, and Forbes recognizes him as the richest African with a net worth of $10.7 billion, and with an age of 61 years old. Now, he is the CEO of the company called Dangote Group, which is a privately owned company with 30,000 employees. And the company imports sugar, produces cement, it also produces rice, and is also a producer of consumer foods. Now, something interesting is that, as I said before, it's a privately held company. So I believe if he ever decides to take his company public, his net worth will most likely balloon. Fact number 8, Africa is home to the world's largest desert, which is the Sahara Desert. Now, the Sahara Desert is actually located in northern Africa, and it has a surface area of 9 million square kilometers. You can just imagine how massive the Sahara Desert is, and it's actually the largest non-polar desert in the world. Yes, that's the Sahara Desert. Now, fact number 9 is that most people may not know is that Africa is actually home to a plethora of traditional national attires. For instance, if you look at Nigerian traditional wears, like the clothing that they wear, they have their own style. If you look at Sierra Leonean clothing, they have their own style. If you look at, for example, Northern Africans, such as Moroccans or Egyptians, they also have their own style of attire, and also East Africans have their own look as well. However, African traditional clothing is very unique. It's very distinctive among other ethnic groups around the world. So if you look at people that come from places like Asia or Europeans or Americans, it's easy to be able to distinguish what an African looks like. So if you're ever in Africa and you're visiting different countries, you notice that they have their own traditional wear. It's very baggy and it's very relaxing, but it's also very stylish, and each ethnic group has their own twist that they have to it. Now, as of course, women tend to have a wider variety of clothing that they can wear, so they can pull off many different styles to suit their needs at the moment. And that's just the way it is with fashion all the way around the world. Women generally have a larger pool of things to choose from. Now, in fact, fact number 10, Africa is comprised of 2 major religions. Now, the first one is not in any particular order. The first religion is Islam, and the second one is Christianity. Now, in many places around Africa, there are people that live in countries that are comprised of either mostly Islamic people with a minority of Christianity and Christians, and they get along quite well. If you go to Egypt, you'll find that to be commonplace. If you come to Nigeria, there's a group of people that are generally Islamic, but there's also a very strong foothold of Christians in Nigeria. For instance, Nigeria is, of all the African nations, it has the most churches of all of African countries out there. So Africa is a very diverse place if you're visiting it. And the reason we decided to share this video is that we just wanted to give you some fun facts about the continent that you may not be aware of. And we're also just trying to get you to, we're trying to and get more people to travel to Africa and see all of the wonderful things that it has to offer. So once again, these are the top 10 most interesting facts about Africa. And if you enjoy this content or you found it to be educational, just share it with someone and hit the like button and leave a comment below about some of the facts that we didn't mention in this video, so you can educate some of the audience as well. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the content. Have a fantastic day. This is Charles here. Peace out.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? No. No comments?
Shalom, everyone.
Yeah, what's up, Lamar?
Shalom. Yeah, I'm at work right now, but it get a little noise in the background. I'm on mute this, but I'm enjoying the lesson.
Okay, yeah. I had a little trouble there for a minute, but I'm good.
Okay, just wanted to say shalom, everyone.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Glad to hear from you.
All right, shalom.
Shalom.
Glad to hear from you, man.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else got any comment on that? So I'm gonna go into. We got the lesson is this thing. I want to bounce off of what I have dealing with on the Book of Enoch. So I want to go into the importance of and some of the facts and the high points of the Book of Jasher. But before that, I'm gonna play this music video, and then we're gonna go into the class. Okay. Okay, let me get it.
We bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your holy name. We praise your holy name today. We bow down and worship you. We glorify your name.
found worship.
We glorify your name.
We glorify your holy name.
We praise your holy name today.
Blessed be the name of Yah.
We praise you today.
Hallelujah.
We praise you today. In all the heavens, in all the earth, we proclaim the praise your name.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. So we're gonna go into the class, the lesson right now. It's like I said, it's the importance of the Book of Jasher. So let me get this right quick. Yeah, so like I did with the Book of Enoch this morning, because I've been stuff going around, people I'm coming in contact with, and meeting a lot of people, and they saying that they was told to stay away from the Book of Enoch and Jasher and Jubilees because they was forgeries, and that the books were no good. And I just I figured I was gonna put something on this channel on Prophets of Awakening for people that's come through, for them to see the importance of the Book of Enoch and Jasher and Jubilees. And so, like I said, I dealt with Enoch this morning, so I'm gonna deal with Jasher right now. And the Book of Jasher is, to put it in perspective, for the people that don't know, it's Jasher is he's a son of Caleb. And if you don't know who Caleb is, Caleb was it was 12 spies sent out by Moses to spy the land of Canaan. When they got to the borders of the land of Canaan, he wanted some spies to go in to assess the land and see what was how the land was the workings of the land. And so the story is that they came back and they saw giants, because there was giants all over the land of Canaan. And they came back. 10 of them came back with a bad report and stirred the people up. But 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, came back with a good report. So we know that because they came back with a good report and the people murmured, they ended up wandering in the wilderness. They came right to the borders of Canaan, but because they doubted the Most High and they saw what he done in Egypt, but that wasn't enough for them. They still they doubted him that he could cleanse them of the land, of the giants. And so he wandered them around in the wilderness for 40 years to kill off that generation. And so everybody was killed off except Joshua and Caleb. In the 20 years and older, they went into the land. So the Book of Jasher, if you take the Book of Jasher, you can put it right after the Book of Joshua, right before Judges, before the books of Judges, because Jasher is Caleb's son. So you can once you read it and get the grasp of what's going on in it and see the content, you can take that book and place it right where it goes. And it goes right in between, right after Joshua, the Book of Joshua. And so I'm gonna read couple chapters to give you a feel of it, and then I go into some of the high points, that helped me, and which helped a lot of other people, because it helped me. So I'm gonna start reading. So chapter 1 says, God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. And God created man in his own image. God formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul and died with speech. And the Lord said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took away one of his ribs and built the flesh upon it and formed it and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, this is bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for it has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Eve, for she was mother of all living. And God blessed them and called them their names Adam and Eve, in the name that he created them. And the Lord God said, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. And the Lord God took Adam and his wife and placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And he commanded them and said unto them, from every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil ye shall not eat. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. And when God had blessed and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his wife dwelt in the garden according to the command which the Lord had commanded them. And the serpent which God had created with them in the earth came to them to incite them to transgress the commands of God which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent. And she transgressed the word of God and took from the tree of knowledge good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it and gave it also to her husband, and he ate. And Adam and his wife transgressed the commands of God which he had commanded them. And God knew it, and his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And the Lord God drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt in the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from the Lord. And the name of the other she called Abel. And she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity shall we be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of the sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offer to the Lord. Cain brought for the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstling of his flock, from the fat thereof. And God turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven and consumed it. And upon Cain and his offering, the Lord did not turn, and he did not incline to it, and he had brought the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And he said, and sometime after, Cain and Abel, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work. And they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger, and said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain, and said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou shalt eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe thyself with thy wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, with which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for their fruit, and the flesh which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from thy land as thou hast said. And Cain said to his brother Abel, surely if I slay thee this day, who will require my blood from thee? And Abel answered Cain, saying, surely God who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee, shouldest thou slay me, for the Lord is the judge and arbitrator, and it is he who will requite my offering to his my meat acquit man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon the earth. And now, if thou shouldest slay me here, surely God knoweth thy secret views, and will judge thee for the evil which thou declarest to do unto me this day. And when Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, which he suddenly smote his brother and slew him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Abel upon the ground, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. Okay. And after this, Cain repented having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And the Lord knew what Cain had done to his brother. And the Lord appeared to Cain and said unto him, Where is Abel thy brother that was with thee? And Cain dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said unto him, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground where thou hast slain him. For thou hast slain thy brother, and hast dissembled before me, and didst imagine in thy heart that I saw thee not, nor knew all thy actions. But thou didst this thing, and didst slay thy brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to thee. And now therefore cursed be thou from the ground which opens thy mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and wherein thou didst bury him. And it shall be, when thou shalt till it, it shall no more give thee its strength as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and thou shalt be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of thy death. And at that time Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering into the land toward the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Cain knew his wife in those days, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Enoch, saying, in that time the Lord began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enoch, according to the name of his son. For in those days the Lord had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Ari was born in Enoch, and Ari begot Methuselah. Methuselah begot Methuselah. Okay, chapter 2. And it was in the 130th year of the life of Adam upon the earth that he began to know Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore the son in his likeness in his image. She called his name Seth, saying, Because God has appointed me another seed in the place of Abel, for Cain has slain him. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begat a son. And Seth called the name of his son Enos, saying, Because of in the time that the sons of men began to multiply and to afflict their souls and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against God. And it was in those days of Enos that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against God, to increase the anger of the Lord against the sons of men. And the sons of men went, and they served other gods, and they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down to serve them. And every man made his god, and they bowed down to them. The sons of men forsook the Lord all the days of Enos and his children, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the works of and the abominations which they did in the earth. So I want to explain something right here, right quick, to make it plain. So it says right here in verse 2, verse 3 says, let me start at 2. Seth lived 105 years, and he begot a son. And Seth called the name of his son Enos, saying, Because in the time that the sons of men began to multiply and afflict their souls in the hearts of their hearts by transgression and rebelling against God. So what you see right here is Seth and Enos and their descendants is separate from the sons of men. So what I want to show you is who are these sons of men. Verse 3. And it was in those days of Enos that the sons of men began to rebel and transgress against God, to increase the anger of the Lord against the sons of men. And the sons of men went and they served other gods. See that? Other other angels is elves. It's an angel that's over Adam's seed. We know who that is. So it says, and it was in those days Enos that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against God, to increase the anger of the Lord against the sons of men. And the sons of men went and they served other gods, other angels, and they forgot the Lord who had created them. So let's look at that. So go to Genesis chapter 1 and 26. So this it's a must that you understand this right here. So when we go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26, we see that it says, God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So 27. So God created in his own image, in the image God created him, male and female created he them, and he blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. So what was been discovered and what we found out is that man, that's a man and a woman that he created on the sixth day. Then he rested, then he came in Genesis chapter 2, verse 5, every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, watered the whole face of the ground, and the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and this man became a living soul. So this man right here don't have a woman with him, but the man over in Genesis 26 has a woman. And so that's 2,000 years earlier, because one day is 1,000 years with the Lord. So what you come to find out, this is these are the sons of men over here. Let me read it again. I'm in Jasher. This is what Jasher brings to the table. Chapter 2 says, Jasher, verse 2 says, Seth lived 105 years, and he begot us. Begot his son. Seth called the name of his son Enos, saying, behold, in that time the sons of men began to multiply. That's this man in Genesis 1:26. They had multiplied unto them. It says, and it says, then they says, because in that time the sons of men began to multiply and to afflict their souls and their hearts by transgressing and rebelling against God, right? Rebelling against Lord of hosts, right? It says, and it was in those days of Enos that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against Yahweh, to increase, means against Lord of hosts, to increase the anger of the Lord against the sons of men, right? And the sons of men went and they served other gods. So who was these other gods? That's the watchers. These watchers they're supposed to be watching over them. And so we know that from what we read this morning and for what I'm showing you now, giants came about. It's because these angels had them worshiping them. We know that they was at the same time they was looking at these women, and they was looking at how these men was interacting with them. So some giants got together. We saw this morning in the book of Enoch, and they went and made a pact, 200 of them. They went up on Mount Sinai, on Mount Hermon, and they came back down and they started taking these women, going into them, and they created the giant. So that's what Jasher is revealing right here. They chill us. And so these people right here says, and in those days the sons of men made images. This is where it started at, idols. Images of iron and wood and stone, and they bowed down to serve them. And every man made his God, and they bowed down to them, and the sons of men forsook the Lord. See, they went away from the Lord. This is the 6th day, man. All the days of and his children. And the anger of the Lord was kindled on account of their works and the abominations which they had did in the earth. See, and the Lord caused the waters of the river of Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them and he destroyed third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of the Lord. And in those days there were neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns and thistles, briars. And for many of the days of for from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth of the curse of God, which he cursed the earth on account of sins which Adam sinned before the Lord. And it was when the men continued to rebel and transgress against God and to corrupt his ways that the earth became corrupt. And Enos lived, somebody found doing the most. It says, and Enoch lived 90 years and he begot Canaan. And Canaan grew up and he was 40 years old. And he became wise and had knowledge and skill and all wisdom. And he reigned over all the sons of men. And he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man and had understanding and wisdom. And with his wisdom, he ruled over spirits and demons. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and that the Lord would in the latter days bring upon them the waters of the flood. So what we're reading right here is, I showed you how that Adam's descendants, these men that's called, let me give you an example right quick so you can get a plain understanding what's happening. So I'm in Genesis chapter 5 says, chapter 5 verse 6 says, Seth lived 105 years and begot Enoch. Let me go back up. Okay, it says, Seth lived, verse 6, 5 and 6. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enoch. And Seth lived after he begot Enoch 807 years and begot daughters, sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years and he died. And Enoch lived 90 years and begot Canaan. And Enoch after he begot Canaan 850 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch for 905 years and he died Canaan. So this man's right here, all these men right here were called. So he have other sons and daughters, but the ones that he's shining the light on are the ones that's called. So what I'm trying to get you to see, and what the Book of Jasher is pointing out, is that these men are is a title, is a name for these men, and they called Melchizedek. The oldest one is Melchizedek. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. So as long as Adam was alive, he Melchizedek. Once Adam died, Seth became Melchizedek. Once Seth died, then Enoch became Melchizedek. So I want to read again in verses chapter 2 of Jasher, starting at verse 8. It says, and the seed which was sown in those days in the ground became thorns and thistles and briars. For from the days of Adam was a declaration concerning the earth of the curse of God, which he cursed the earth on account of the sins which Adam sinned before the Lord. And it was when men continued to rebel against God and to corrupt their ways, that the earth became corrupt. So the way that they rebelling against God, they rebelling against this this title, Melchizedek. They rebelling against God, but Adam is the one that's in place. And so when they rebel against Adam, they rebelling against God. Adam in his lineage is in charge of the planet. So you get down to verse 11, Canaan grew up and he was 40 years old and he became wise and had knowledge and skill and all wisdom. See, he got this knowledge and skill and wisdom because his responsibility is to teach all the rest of mankind. They ought to submit to him. He says, and he reigned. See that? He a king, Melchizedek. He reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge of the most of the Creator. Right? For Canaan was very wise man and had understanding in all wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled. See that over spirits and over demons. And Canaan knew that his wisdom. Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men from having sinned upon the earth, and that the Lord would in the latter days bring upon them the flood. Right. So we were dealing with this morning we was dealing with Lamech from Cain's descendants had married these two women called Ada and Zillah. So we're gonna find out who they are. Verse 13 says, and in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone that was to take place, the time to come, and to put them in the treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth. And he turned some of the sons of men to the service of God. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begot 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn was Mahela, this is called seed. And the second Ena, and the third Merit. And the sisters were Ada and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born unto him. So what you come to find out and what's revealed to us in the book of Jasher is that Ada and Zillah came from Adam's lineage. That Lamech and Cain then married. He intermarried into Cain's lineage, into Adam's lineage. This is how you get to Cain. So I just want to shine light on that. So this is why it's important. One of the reasons why this book is important. So with that being said, I want to shine some light on some high points in here that this book brings forth. And it says, let me get one down at the bottom. I was telling you about Melchizedek. So I'm in Jasher chapter 16, right quick. Jasher chapter 16. Okay. In Jasher chapter 16, what's revealed to us, I want to show you. I made a statement about Melchizedek. I'm going to show you why I'm telling you that. This is Jasher 16, and I'm starting at verse 8. It's the same story that's in the King James about Abraham and how he met Melchizedek. It says, Abraham recovered all the property of Sodom, and he also recovered Lot and his property, his wives, his little ones, and all belonging to him. So that Lot lacked nothing. And when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Siddim, where the kings had made war together, and brought out king of Sodom and the rest of his men that were with him went out from the lion pits into okay. Says went out from the lion pits into which they had fallen to meet Abraham and his men, and Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same was Shem. So we see how they don't lie to us again. So it tells you right here, Melchizedek is Shem. So why is he Shem? Why is he Shem? Because I just said it's passed down. This is after the flood. Noah passed away. So the title was passed to Shem. It says, and Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same with Shem, went out with his men to meet Abraham and his people with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. And Melchizedek blessed Abraham. Shem blessed Abraham. And Abraham gave him a tenth from all that he had brought from the spoils of his enemies. For Melchizedek was a priest of God. And all the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah who were there with their servants approached Abraham and begged of him to return them their servants, whom he had made captive, and to take unto himself all the property. So see right here how important these books are. Somebody's phone doing the most. Okay, so and yeah, so we got in chapter 12. I want to shine a light on something else. It's in the book of Jasher, chapter 12. Okay, and what's going on is Abraham. People don't know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was thrown in the fiery furnace, but Abraham was thrown in the fiery furnace also. So I'm gonna pick that up in 12 and 29. And okay, 12 and 29 it says, says, and the king ordered Abraham to be taken out from the fire, and his servants approached to take him out, and they could not, for the fire was round about. For the fire was round about, and the flames ascending toward them from the furnace. And the king's servants fled from it, and the king rebuked them, saying, "Make haste and bring Abraham out of the fire, that you should not die." And the servants of the king again approached to bring Abraham out, and the flames came upon them and burned their faces, so that 8 men of them died. And when the king saw that his servants could not approach to the fire, lest they should be burned, the king called Abraham, "O servant of God, who is in heaven, go forth from thy midst of the fire and come hither before me." And Abraham hearkened to the voice of the king, and he went forth from the fire and came and stood before the king. So you say, well, why you reading this right here? Well, I want to show you something. So this ain't no regular fire.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Yahweh in the very beginning created these 7 angels that's made out of fire. It's just like him. So it's a consuming fire, and this is their original appearance. In their original state, they're consuming fire, just like the creator. Because when they appear on earth to men and show themselves as a man. But their essence is that it's consuming fire. So what you see is they in their purest form right here because they're in the fire. And so when these men come to try to get Abraham, the fire ain't acting like no regular fire. The fire is chasing them, burning them, and running them all out of the furnace.
Yes.
A regular fire. So you say, what you talking about? Well, let's go to Exodus chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we in Exodus chapter 3 at the burning bush.
Okay.
So now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. See, and then we see in verse 2, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in the flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. So we see this ain't no regular fire.
Right.
And we see it's an angel that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he on the bush, and he on the bush, but the bush ain't burning up. But that's because this ain't no regular fire. This fire got a mind of its own.
Yes. So
verse 3 says, Moses said, "I will now turn aside to see this great sight while the bush is not burned." See that? You want to know why it ain't burning? What kind of fire is this? So
yes.
When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, then Yahweh called on him out of the midst of the bush and said, "Moses, Moses." And he said, "Here I am."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Here I am." And he cried and draw nigh hither and pull off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. So we know it's an angel there, right? And he got this weird acting fire. They're acting right, like it's supposed to. And then in the ground, so there's an angel there. So the ground is holy because there's an angel there. Well, we find out in the Book of Jasher, same thing going on in the fiery furnace. The reason why Abraham ain't being burnt up.
Yes.
The same angel is in the fire with Abraham.
That's right.
Then anybody that come near to Abraham, the fire burning them up, the fire acting a fool with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we see right here, this got to be understood. Okay, yeah. So anyway, we got another one. I wanted to show you in Jasher chapter 10. Let me see. Yeah, Jasher chapter 11. You don't get this information in King James. So let me chapter 11 says, verse 1. Nimrod, the son of Cush, was still in the land of Shinar, and he reigned over it and dwelt there, and he built cities in the land of Shinar, and these are the names of the 4 cities which he built. And he called their names after the occurrences that happened to them in the building of the tower. And he called first Babel, saying, because the Lord hath confounded the languages of the whole earth. And the name of the second he called Erech, because from there God dispersed them. And the third he called Echad, saying there was a great battle at that place. And the fourth he called Kalna, because his princes and his mighty men were consumed there, and they vexed the Lord, and they rebelled and transgressed against him. So you say, why are you reading this to me? Well, if you go over to Jasher chapter 10, you'll see that verse 24, and the children of Canaan also built themselves cities and called their cities after their names, 11 cities and the others without number, and 4 men from the family of Ham went to the land of the plains, and these are the names of the 4 men: Sodom, Gomorrah, Ada, and Zerah. So what you're going to find out, these Sodom is the name of a descendant of Ham. Gomorrah is a descendant of Ham. These 4 men, they named the city just like Cain named this the city he built after his firstborn son Enoch. So Sodom is the name of one of Ham's sons. It's Gomorrah is the name of his son. So but the part I want to show you is that if you go to the King James, see, Enoch survived the Tower of Babel. When the Most High came down and scattered the people over the whole earth, chapter 11 of Jasher tells you Nimrod, the son of Cush, was still in the land of Shinar, and he reigned over it and dwelled there, and he built cities in the land. So he built some more cities after the Most High destroyed Sodom, after the Most High came and destroyed the Tower of Babel. Nimrod wasn't dead. So I'm going to show you that right quick because it's important. So I'm over in Genesis. Okay. And I'm in chapter 15. I'm in chapter 14 of Genesis. So you got to do your homework on this one. So it says, and it came to pass in those days that Armathal, king of Shinar, ain't Nimrod king of Shinar?
Right.
See that? So this Armathal, this Nimrod. So go do your research on that. So his name, he got Armathal now because that name Armathal is telling you what happened to him. He changed his name after Most High came to judge the Tower of Babel, but Nimrod wasn't killed.
Okay.
He picked it up. So check it out. Just go Google that. You're gonna find out that's Nimrod. And the Book of Jasher tells you flat out. In chapter 11, it says Nimrod, son of Cush, was still in the land of Shinar, and he reigned and dwelled there, and he built cities in the land of Shinar. Now you're gonna see what I'm talking about too. These are the names of the 4 cities which he built, and he called their names after the occurrences that happened to them in the building of the tower. See that? That's after the tower. And he named the cities because look what it says. And he called the first Babel, saying, because the Lord there confounded the languages of the whole earth, and the names of the second. See, the name of these other cities is telling you what happened to him the first time when the Most High came down and scattered all the people and destroyed the tower. Nimrod wasn't killed. Okay?
Right. Yes.
So anyway, with that being said, I want to do this. I think I got a sidebar when my computer went out. So let me see if I can bring this up. This is real profound right here. Okay. So in case you don't know what this is a nativity story. Okay. There's Mary, in case you wonder, and Joseph.
İşte. Hissettisi işte. Malek. Desasar o karan. Kalet manasar.
Ito mami. Ito mami.
Klart.
Just a regular woman having a baby. They just change the music. Okay. They're outside now. Okay, so everybody familiar with the story, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Let's go over here to the Book of Jasher right quick. See what's going on. So I'm in Jasher chapter 8. Now this the reason why this the main reason why I want you to read this Book of Jasher right here. I'm in chapter 8. Start reading at verse 1. And it came to pass in the night that Abraham was born, and that all the servants of Terah and all the wise men of Nimrod and his conjurers came and ate and drank in the house of Terah, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the wise men and the conjurers went out from the house of Terah, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night and looked at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran into heaven and he swallowed up the four stars from the four sides of heaven. And all the wise men of the kings in his country were astonished at that sight. And the sages that understood this matter, and they knew its import. And they said to each other, this only tokens a child that has been born to terror, not to Mary and Joseph this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth, and he and his children forever. And he and his seed will slay great kings, and inherit their land. And the wise men and conjurers went home that night, and in the morning all the wise men and conjurers rose up early and assembled in the appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, behold, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known to him. And should this thing get known to the king in the latter days, he will say to us, why have you concealed this matter from me? And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore now let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw, and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. So we see now from this book of Jasher that the star in the east and all that happened when Abraham was born.
Mm-hmm.
See, so this is why, just like I showed you how they vilified the book of Enoch, they vilified the book of Jasher, because
Yes.
it's got information in there that's going to discredit the New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And see what all they did was when they got these stories out of our records and concocted the New Testament with it. Once they created this idol at the Council of Nicaea, they went and got Hebrew stories and placed them on him in the New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the miracles, that ain't nothing but Elijah and Elijah and Elisha.
Yeah.
The miracle he's doing ain't the same miracles Elijah and Elisha did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all of it a plagiarism. So like I said right here, we see right here that the star in the east was taken from when Abraham was born.
Exactly.
You know, so they didn't change the whole story around and put that on Enoch and put that on Jesus. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me answer this question. It says, what were the garments that Nimrod put on? Are they the same red garments used to describe Esau? After all, he did kill Nimrod and steal garments. Now that was two different type of garments that Nimrod got on is the garments that came from Adam and Eve. From that when the Lord of Hosts did a sacrifice for them to cover their sins on the altar, he gave them skins from where he had slain animals and put it on them. And so when they got him across the flood, Ham stole those garments and gave them to Nimrod.
Wow.
Yeah, the son. He gave him the Cush. Cush gave him to Nimrod. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he stole them from.
Yeah.
He stole them from Noah.
Right.
On the boat.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Okay. So, with that being said, anybody got any comments before we exit?
Yes. I'm just still a little bit fuzzy with the whole representation of Melchizedek. Could you say again the function? I know Melchizedek is a title, so the person functioning under the title of Melchizedek means what to the nation of Israel?
He's a king of Shalom.
So is go ahead.
He's a king of Shalom, so king of peace. So what did Jerusalem become? What did David, the place where David them or where David conquered was Jebusite was they had this it was named after a giant. It was a stronghold for the giant. But after David conquered it, he called it Jerusalem. That's what Melchizedek is. He's the king of Shalom. It eventually became Jerusalem, city of peace. So you have to understand it was 10 men that 10 called out men. Like you said, he had Adam had Cain and Abel, and he called Abel. He had other sons and daughters, but he called Abel. Then he had then he had Cain killed Abel. Then he had Seth. He called his name Seth, but he had other sons and daughters. Seth was a called out seed. Seth had other sons and daughters, but the called out seed was his son Enos.
Okay.
So that's the order of Melchizedek before the flood.
Okay. Does Melchizedek have any connection to Aaron?
Aaron picked it up once they became a nation. Aaron is the priesthood. He's the priest. That's on the yeah. So Aaron picked it up. It was a gap in there, but Aaron actually picked it up, and it was cut off with after Abraham.
Okay,
Shem,
so is it a kind of mantle?
It's a title. It's a king. You're a king. Like I was just reading. He ruling. He giving out wisdom. Let me read it again. And he ruling. It says right here, 2 and 8, Jackson 2 and 8, and the seed which thou sowed in those days in the ground became thorns and thistles and briars from the days of Adam, was his declaration concerning the earth and the curse of God, which he had cursed the earth on account of the sins of Adam's sin before the Lord. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against God to corrupt their ways, that the earth became corrupt. And Enos lived 90 years and he begot Canaan. Canaan grew up and he was 40 years old and he became wise. And he had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned. See that? He's a king. He reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to the wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man and had understanding in all wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled over the people. So he's a king. He's Melchizedek.
Okay.
And then that lineage that passed on. When Canaan passed away, then it's passed to the next Canaan's son. Just like with David's lineage. When David passed on, it was passed to Solomon. And so on and so forth. So this right here, this the order of Melchizedek before the flood.
Okay.
They want you to make, because they want to put that after they blew Jesus up. So then they want to put this title on him, make you think it's some kind of supernatural title that's going on in heaven. But Melchizedek is on the earth.
Okay.
Because we get over here and he tells you right here, point blank, that Shem is Melchizedek. Let me read it.
Yeah, I read that too, and I remember in the what's her name, Yaina class. I told her I read that. She didn't believe me.
Right. She hard headed. So it says, "16." Wrong place. Yeah, verse 16 says, 16 and 9 says, and when it's the same story, it's in Genesis about Abraham when he went to go get Lot. It says, Abraham recovered all the property of Sodom, and he also recovered Lot and his property, and his wives and his little ones, and all belonging to him, so that Lot lacked nothing. And when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Sidon, where the kings had made war together, and brought our king of Sodom and the rest of his men that were with him went out from the lion pits into which they had fallen, and met Abraham and his men, and Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem. See that? The same was Shem, went out with his men to meet Abraham and his people, and with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. So if Shem Melchizedek, that means where he get it from? He got it from the people who was passed down to him.
Mm-hmm.
Noah passed away, and then Shem picked it up.
And Shem is Noah's rightful son.
Yeah, Shem was Noah's son. So when Noah passed away, Shem picked up the mantle. And when Shem passed away, Abraham picked it up.
Okay.
Then it was dormant. And then it was picked back up once the temple came.
Okay, for the order of the priest.
Aaron, right? Because
Okay.
of, when you read over here, what I just read, where Shem was ruling over them. Well, when the sons of men went astray, the responsibility is on Shem and his descendants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same way with the priesthood.
Okay.
When Israel go astray, it falls on the sin falls on the Levites and the priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Why they spelled this Melchizedek different than Melchizedek?
Say that again.
In 11, where it says Melchizedek, why they spell that different than the Melchizedek?
Trying to throw you off when you go and look at it, or when you go Google it or whatever, and go look in the dictionary, you find out it's the same.
Okay.
Right. It's just like when Abraham went down and dwelled with Amalek. Amalek when he stole Sarah. That's a title. That's not the man's name. That's a title.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. But they wanted to. They done flipped all that around, and just like Satan. Satan is a title.
Mm-hmm.
That's an adversary. It's not so. When you say Satan showed up in the garden, it's Lucifer. But the title, he's the adversary. He showed up in the garden against the things of the Most High as an adversary.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you made a reference to if you could just say a little bit more. Are you saying that the 6-day man and his procreation people are the sons of men?
Right. That's the sons of men.
And they the ones that the sons of men, we need to know that they are the people that rebelled against God. Is that
right? They rebelled against the Most High's man. He formed the man. Adam is over them.
okay? Mm-hmm.
So the way you got to look at that is, he gave Israel to Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they rebelled, who they rebelling against?
They're actually rebelling against Michael.
Right, but they belong to Yahweh, but he gave them over to him. He's in charge. We read that in Genesis. We read that in Exodus chapter 23 and 20. He says, "I send my angel, obey his voice."
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go to Deuteronomy 25 and 15, when the curse is being pronounced, he telling you ain't obey my voice. What the Yahweh told you over there is an angel that's over them. Obey his voice. For he ain't gonna pardon your transgression. I ain't in it. I didn't turn him over to this angel. He over y'all. And then Gabriel give you a second witness. Let me read it. Then you give you a second witness in Daniel when he say this right here. In chapter 8. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 of Daniel, verse 21 says, Gabriel talking, but I will show thee, talking to Daniel, I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince.
Mm-hmm.
See that? So he's telling you, I ain't the prince over Israel. Michael the prince over Israel.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Right.
And the same thing over there when the Lord of hosts told him, this angel over you, which is this prince right here, Michael the prince. He over you. He over y'all. Obey his voice. And so when you get to Deuteronomy 28, which is what so many Israelites said today, they waking up from reading Deuteronomy 28. And it says right here in Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But it will come to pass if thou would not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Well, who voice is that? That's the angel.
That's Michael. Mm-hmm.
Yahweh already told you in Exodus 23 and 20 that. Let me read that.
I'm gonna put an angel.
Yeah, 23 and 20. He says, in 23 and 20, he says, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him. He didn't say beware of me, beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. So not only have he put this angel over Israel, the same angel overseeing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yahweh ain't dealing with sin, his angel dealing with sin. It's just like if you start coming up against America, well, they got a joint chief of staff, a joint chief of staff that the president's appointed.
Right.
You ain't gonna deal with the president. You're gonna deal with
That's
the man.
right.
The man on the military gonna show up.
That's
So
right.
everything right here. His angel overseeing. So you said, what you talking about? Well, hell, if somebody gonna die for sin, it's gonna be his angel.
Come on. Yeah.
Sin. Come
yes.
On. Yeah.
Okay, and I just had one small note from your sharing the importance of Enoch this morning, and that was, you know how you always tell us that the wicked scribe got a hold of our records, and I noticed that in the book of Enoch, the Lord called Enoch a righteous scribe.
Right.
You know, because Enoch is going to write what he was shown in heaven. He's righteous, which is why he got the opportunity to go and to view and see the things and the goings on in heaven. He's a righteous scribe. You know, a wicked. Yeah.
The significance of that is he in heaven. Like I was saying before, with the order in place. He a scribe because he up there around these angels. So he a scribe.
Mm-hmm.
So you got prophets, right?
Right.
But the prophet got a scribe. The prophet over the scribe. So you got to look at that. Enoch is up there in heaven, but his angels up there. Strong ones up there. He can't be nothing but a scribe.
Right.
You got to understand that. Yeah. So it says that Job, a contemporary of Abraham, I noticed he's from Uz, but Uz is the son of Shem. He's also a friend of Eliphaz, who is of the sons of Esau, but I don't see Job and Jasher. Like I said, from my research and my understanding of Job, it's Hellenistic because prophets don't talk to our forefathers don't talk to the Yahweh and the Lord of hosts the way Job talking to him. That's Hellenistic, and it's he philosophizing. The prophets don't talk to the Most High Lord like that, like Job talking to him. Yeah, it's some concoction going on with that.
Speaking of Job, he talks about Satan comes before the Lord, show himself before the Lord. But how is that if he is bound to the earth after being disobedient? That might be a discussion for another day. But I was thinking today in the book of Job says that he went and showed him, he went to the Lord and showed himself to the Lord and talked to the Lord about Job and asked the Lord for permission to try Job. So that wouldn't make sense, right?
Right. But you don't see nowhere where Satan was bound.
Okay, the angel, the watchers were bound.
Right, the watchers were bound. He don't say where he was. Lucifer was bound.
Okay.
Right. So it's almost like Joseph and Abraham. I mean Jacob and Joseph. He said he loved Joseph and he made Joseph coat of many colors. It's really in so many words all them other boys knew how he felt about Joseph. So it's kind of it felt the same type of way because they knew how Jacob felt about Joseph. So if Joseph did something foul, you think you gonna kill Joseph? No.
No.
Same with Satan. He was, he said he made him with the full pattern. He's beautiful, all things. So he's this is one of his sons. So he just cast him out of heaven, but he didn't he didn't do to him what he done to those other angels when he bound them.
But his ultimate fate is destruction. Is that right?
Ultimate fate is destruction. But he's just like Israel. They kept on getting chance after chance till finally the Lord of hosts indignation came to a fool in Daniel. That's what he's talking about. He got tired of dealing with them, so then he brought the Greeks, Japhet, Cain's seed. He brought them, and Antioch Epiphanes ran them out for good. That's what he means by the time of the end. But everybody think he's talking about end of the world. But he's talking about Israel as a nation coming to an end. And they came to an end in 143 BC. And the good fig was sent out, and they ended up on the west coast of Africa, and he destroyed the wicked fig. Yeah. So, anybody else got anything else before we go?
Good information on why these books, are important. It's like you do not have all of the puzzle pieces. You cannot fully think like a Hebrew or have the understanding of a Hebrew without these books.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. What's up, Amin?
Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, we getting ready to shut down, man.
I keep on missing them. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good. We're gonna get it right. At least you get some of this lying.
Yes, sir.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna see y'all on Monday.